think we're live, man. This is the most unique Money in the Bank. Unique is garbage in WWE's terms, by the way. The most unique Money in the Bank ladder match in WWE history. Not sure if you guys are aware as well, the risk is worth the reward. The risk for not watching is worth the reward. We're going to go over the Money in the Bank preview and predictions. We're going to go over the late-breaking news before Money in the Bank. And hopefully Nia Jax creates a crater in Stamford, Connecticut when she's thrown off the WWE Headquarters right here on Off the Script.
Delete this mark. Alive with people still
right here on Off the Script. I am JD. It is Money in the Bank Sunday. A lot of people have been looking forward to tonight's show. I am actually looking forward to tonight's show just based off of the, I guess, intrigue that WWE has developed for this pay-per-view. And I gotta give WWE credit. Their shows have been completely god-awful. For these stay-at-home shows, these empty arena shows, these quarantine shows, whatever you want to call them. We all know that these shows have been downright horrendous. WWE creative is just as bad as it's always been. But whoever came up with this concept for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and them going into Connecticut and filming a cinematic version of the Money in the Bank inside WWE Headquarters, which I don't know how WWE Headquarters is going to be operational. I know it's not going to be operational immediately, but eventually, hopefully, people go back to work there. How they're going to demolish this and make it look like new again. It's a great idea. It's a great concept. I got to give WWE credit. And hopefully, no matter how long we are going to have to go through this with the empty arena shows, I hope that this isn't the end for WWE thinking outside their bubble. Thinking, for new content. How do we create? How do we go back to the drawing board and recreate a new vision or a new version of WWE in this time of uncertainty? So I'm intrigued about what they are planning on doing or what they have planned. The match is already filmed. It was filmed in the beginning of April, so we will go over all of that and all the news and rumors, the match card, the predictions, who I think is going to win both men's and women's Money in the Bank, who I think is going to be thrown off the roof of Titan Tower because you know it's coming. WWE has teased this for weeks now. Someone is going off. Baron Corbin mentioned it. AJ Styles mentioned it. Aleister Black mentioned it. Rey Mysterio mentioned it. Somebody's flying off Titan Tower. I don't know who it is, but I got a very good guess as to who it could be, and we'll go over that right here on the podcast. We got 622 viewers right now seeping on in here. Hopefully we have a decent audience for this preview and predictions. Just make sure you guys are aware I will be live in the flesh tonight for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view review. We will be live after the show is over. We'll talk about it. We'll discuss it. We'll take your questions. We'll go over what happened and go over the results of the pay-per-view. If you guys missed anything that I've uploaded previously on the channel, Off the Script this weekend was great. I was very happy with the way the shows came out. So if you guys missed episode 325, part number 1 and 2, please go and check that, linked down below in the description. On part 1, we talked about the Revival and their appearance on Talk is Jericho, which I thought was a great interview. And we dissect that podcast No matter what they said, I wasn't surprised by much of anything that they said, but I was very happy with the way that I had dissected and pretty much nailed everything leading up to their release about why they were released, why would they want to be released, the state of the tag team division. So make sure you guys go and check that out. And then in part 2, we talked about the rumor that Dave Meltzer just threw out there and everybody ran with it. The brand split not ending. The brand split could be a way that WWE fixes the bleeding ratings on Monday and Friday night. It's not going to be that simple of a solution to help WWE. I don't think anything that WWE does now is going to be able to save this sinking ship. I really don't. I think the product is at its worst. Whoever thinks this product is anywhere where it needs to be is a fucking mental case. And I honestly think Vince McMahon needs to be removed from power. That's ultimately step one. And we know that's not going to happen anytime soon, but the product is not going to get better unless Vince McMahon is gone and Triple H is in charge. That's who I deem the next in line. That's who I would want to see. At least give him 6 to 12 months to see if he can resuscitate this product. It can't get any worse than what it is now. And I think Triple H, as far as the fan base goes, is the one man that everybody trusts just because of what he's done with NXT over the last 7 to 8 years. So I give you my opinion on part 2. It's not going to be an overnight solution, but things need to be done before we get to that. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of patience. And it's going to take a lot of time to develop the trust of that fan base that isn't there anymore, that has gone left for one reason or another. So it's going to take some time, but I go over it in part 2. Go and check it out. And if you do, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up on everything that I do. Monday Night Raw, AEW Dynamite, and NXT. Make sure you guys go and check that stuff out as well down in the description below. Hit that thumbs up on the stream, on the chat. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. If you're just finding the stream via YouTube, hopefully they sent out some notifications. I would greatly appreciate you guys subscribe. We are here almost 7 days a week going over WWE. Nobody does it better than right here on Off the Script. You're never going to get the type of opinion you get here anywhere else in the community, minus 1 or 2 different people. But right here, we are always blunt. We are always direct. So no matter what is going on, you will always get the truth. I don't need to be hacking SmackDown. If I was, I'd find out where fucking Ali and Tucker Knight are. That's the first thing that I do because they have gone missing on SmackDown Live. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Follow me on social media, which is also very important because we'll be live tweeting during the pay-per-view tonight. So if you guys want my in-real, opinion on the show tonight, make sure you guys are following me on Twitter. I'll be tweeting all night with you. And if you want to support the podcast via Patreon, you guys know how to certainly do that as well. Patreon.com/JDfromNY 206. We got some super chats coming in here already. There were some before I even hit live on the stream today, so we'll go over them towards the end of the show. But I want to shout out Bradley, Gregory, Aaron, Gregory, Steve, Joker in the Bronx, Andrew, King New York 98, Dustin, JP, DD Gaming, and Carl. Thank you for all the super chats. We will go over them and read them towards the end of the show because I want to move on and get ready for Money in the Bank, and I want to get you guys ready for Money in the Bank. I guess first and foremost, we should go over the card tonight. WWE title match, Drew McIntyre, who is the champion. I have been very pleased with what Drew McIntyre has done on WWE television. He looks better than ever. He is fit for the role. I hope WWE does not punish him in any sense of the word because of the lack of rating that Monday Night Raw is getting. It is absolutely nothing to do with him, and it is not his fault at all. And I would be very, very angry. On top of my anger already towards the product, I would be even more angry if they take it out on Drew McIntyre. Hopefully that is not the case. He is defending the title, the WWE title, against Seth Rollins, who I think has done a very admirable job as a heel. He is still a pussy. He is still a bitch. And I don't know where Seth Rollins fits into all of this. We did figure out why Seth Rollins was given the WWE Championship match here at Money in the Bank. Kevin Owens has been hurt. He hurt himself at WrestleMania, diving off the WrestleMania logo through Seth Rollins. So there was really nobody else that made sense on the show on Monday night, and they gave it to Seth Rollins, which in the end, I honestly think it's going to further drag Seth Rollins down the rankings of Monday Night Raw. Now, there are no rankings. You guys know what I mean. But Seth Rollins losing another WWE Championship match, one that he A, doesn't deserve, and B, really never qualified or really made a statement to getting that title shot. Seth Rollins, after this, what does he do? What does he do? We'll figure that out. We'll talk about that as well. But I do have an inclination on that, and we did discuss that on part 2 of the podcast on Saturday. WWE Universal Championship match. Bray Wyatt, human Bray Wyatt, Mr. Rogers Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman, boring Strowman. This guy is awful. Braun Strowman is one of the worst parts of WWE weekly television. He is your Universal Champion, undeservedly so, by the way. So that is for the Universal Championship. I don't know how you guys feel about this. I think we're all in the same boat about Bray Wyatt being the Universal Champion. If it was up to me, I'd give him the championship tonight, get it over with, get it back on him, even though it's going to be too little too late. Braun Strowman's doing nothing with the championship. The one thing that I find to be the most awful about this situation is the clash of styles here. Not only is the story complete garbage, nobody gives a shit about Braun Strowman's time in the Wyatt family. He had a cup of coffee and maybe a blueberry scone from Titus Catering in the Wyatt family. He was there for a very short period of time. He didn't do anything. The one thing that I remember from Braun Strowman in the Wyatt family was that terrible main event he had with Dean Ambrose when Dean Ambrose was still a part of the Shield, and they put that match in the main event of a random edition of Monday Night Raw. Just a complete awful edition of Monday Night Raw. I don't know if you guys remember that. I certainly do, because it gave me fucking nightmares for about 3 weeks. Awful. That's the only thing I remember about Braun Strowman's time in the Wyatt family. And like I said on my SmackDown review, the feud, or the story that they're telling with Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman, is nothing more than a B-side to an album that you don't even care for. So, I don't know who is interested in the story that we have here. The Black Sheep. I know a Black Sheep, and it stars Chris Farley and David Spade. That's the only Black Sheep that I care to know. But this match is for the Universal Championship, and we'll go over what I think is going to happen, because in typical WWE, they think this is some masterful storytelling, and I just want it to be over. Men's Money in the Bank ladder match, Daniel Bryan, Baron Corbin, and Otis on the SmackDown side of things versus Aleister Black, Rey Mysterio, and AJ Styles. This is the Men's Money in the Bank ladder match held in Stamford, Connecticut at the WWE Headquarters, already filmed. And the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, Nia Jax, Asuka, and Shayna Baszler. That is the women from the Monday Night Raw side of things versus Dana Brooke. Yes, folks. Unfortunately, Dana Brooke is in a WWE pay-per-view. Lacey Evans and Carmella. Man, oh man, I read those names and I really do think about how awful the WWE Women's Division is on SmackDown. But that will also be held in Stamford, Connecticut, obviously. And both the men's and the women's Money in the Bank match will be taking place at the same time, starting on the ground floor all the way through the innards of the building and ending, obviously, on the roof, with one female and one male grabbing their respective Money in the Bank briefcases. At the same time, probably not, but it should be interesting, and we'll go over what I think is going to happen, who I think is going to win, who shouldn't win, who's going to be thrown off the building, etc., right here on the podcast. SmackDown women's title match, Bayley versus Tamina Snuka. If WWE's, I guess, desire here is to make you care nothing about the women's title and the women's division on SmackDown, they have done a masterful job by putting Tamina in a championship match. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody. The closest Tamina should be to a title match is sitting at home on her couch, quarantined, and watching the show on television. That's it. If Bayley doesn't walk out the champion, I don't know what the fuck WWE is thinking. And expect a all-out rage podcast when Tamina hopefully does not win. If she does, expect rage. Hopefully she does not win the Women's Championship. SmackDown Tag Team Fatal 4-Way. One of the worst things about WWE is its tag team divisions on Raw and SmackDown. Something needs to be done, and done fast. The New Day, they are the champions. Miz and Morrison, the Forgotten Sons, and the Loser House Party, they will be in a Fatal 4-Way for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Get this, folks. Get this. They added a singles match to the show. Now, did they add Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, which should have been the singles match that they added to the show? Did they add a tag team title match for the Raw tag team titles with the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits? No. That would have made no sense, really, but it would have made more sense than this. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville should have been on this show instead of a blow-off to a fucking feud that lasted 6 months. Your first match is going to be on SmackDown? Well, why don't you give these women the time of day on a fucking pay-per-view? No, but, folks, listen to this. We got MVP, who apparently was retired back in January. I think he honestly fucking developed Vince McMahon-like dementia because he forgot that he retired from the ring on Monday night versus R-Truth in a singles match. I don't know why. I don't know why WWE thinks this match needs to be on a show, period, let alone this fucking pay-per-view. What sense does this make? Who are you appeasing by putting R-Truth and MVP in a singles match in an empty performance center on Money in the Bank? So not only does the SmackDown Women's Championship give you bathroom break vibes, now WWE's telling you that you can extend that bathroom break. There you go, bro. There you go. Normally it takes you about 10 minutes to shit. You could sit on there for about 17 minutes and enjoy yourself. Those buffalo wings need to be deposited somewhere. Jeff Hardy versus Cesaro was added to the pre-show. There you go. Sheamus has been built like a monster. He wasn't on WrestleMania, and he's not on Money in the Bank. Now, you couldn't give me Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus on the Money in the Bank show. You got to give me fucking R-Truth and MVP. And then you got to give Cesaro a pay-per-view pre-show match, inevitably losing, of course. Cesaro is WWE's resident enhancement loser. And he deserves far better than that. So we'll go over all of that as we move on through the show. Let me see what's going on in the chat here. We got 1,100 people in the chat. Thank you guys so very much. A couple of more super chats filtering in here. After Carl, we got Team Forward. We got the great Charlie, Jacob, Victoria Floyd, Joker in the Bronx again, and Antonio with a super chat. We will read all of those super chats later in the show. Now, let's start off at the top here with the Money in the Bank news. The Money in the Bank ladder match will not happen like you think it will. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, the match was filmed at WWE Titan Tower in early April. Apparently, the recording process or the filming process ended up being an all-day affair. It ended at like midnight or so on that day. They went through the entire day, early morning, all the way till midnight. That night, it was recorded. There were some issues. People were cold. People were standing around waiting for their certain spots. I don't know how the match is going to look. Apparently, it's going to be cinematic. Apparently, it's going to be like what we've seen with the Boneyard match, like what we've seen with Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. And I think that's the right way to go about it. I really do. I am a sucker for the cinematic matches if done right. So we'll see what happens with that. But the match will not be its standalone match. It's not going to be a standalone match on its own. We're not going to go through the show and then have a Money in the Bank ladder match end the show. It's going to be cut up and it's going to be integrated into the overall 3.5 hour program. That is according to Mike Johnson of PW Insider Elite. That WWE's current plan is to split the Money in the Bank ladder match up with updates during the broadcast. So, for example, we'll get the tag team title match with the SmackDown side It could be the Forgotten Sons, Miz and Morrison, New Day, and the Loser House Party. That match could be over with, and then they'll cut into where the match starts on the ground floor. We'll see a little bit of it. They might do a little 3-4 minute, intermission there, take you to the Money in the Bank ladder match. They'll end that, and then they'll jump back to the Performance Center. We'll see Bayley versus Tamina. When that match is over, they'll jump back and they'll pick up progress about where everybody in the ladder match is. They might be on the first floor. They might be on the second floor. Who knows? Nia Jax may be featured in the catering area because she said, fuck the briefcase. She's going to go right to see what catering has to offer during this Money in the Bank ladder match show. It's going to be cut up and put into the show in intervals. It's not going to be its own standalone match. So WWE, he said, will not be airing the match all at once, but this should allow them to do a lot with the idea for this match. He says this, and I quote, "The concept, I was told, is that it's going to kind of be like that episode of Impact where they had people brawling all over the place for an hour. It's going to start with, this is what's happening at Titan Tower, and we're going to kind of see an overview of what's going on there. And then we're going to go back to the Performance Center, and they're going to do a couple of scenes with picture-in-picture of what's going on in Titan Tower, while the real-life wrestling in the Performance Center is happening live for Money in the Bank. We're going to go back and forth and see the journey of these wrestlers and how they fought and made it to the floor, all the way to the roof, over time, and spread across the pay-per-view. It's going to be like that one segment of Money in the Bank, or it's not going to be like that one segment of Money in the Bank, and we're done. They're going to use it to lure people into the show and keep people entertained over the 3-hour broadcast. It was noted that this could be compared to what WWE actually did with Roddy Piper and Goldust back at WrestleMania 12, where they had their backlot brawl. They had a match happen, and then they cut away to them on the highway. Obviously, if you guys remember back in the day, that's when OJ was on trial, OJ Simpson, and they showed clips of the white Bronco and Roddy Piper supposedly chasing Goldust. And then when they actually got into the backlot of WrestleMania 12, that's when they cut to the full match. And then they actually made their way out to the arena. So it's going to be like that. If you guys envision that and remember that back from WrestleMania 12, it's going to be that. They will air portions of the Money in the Bank match throughout the night, and it's going to keep fans intrigued. I think it's a give or take here, in my honest opinion. I think it sounds great, and we're not really going to miss any of the action because they're just going to cut it up, and we're going to, see some, and then we're going to be pulled away, and then they're going to pick up right where we left off. So it should be interesting. My thing is, I really wish that they really would have went the route of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Even though I love Mauro, and even though I love the NXT announce team, I thought the match was great the way it was filmed, the personal feeling of the match, the intimate setting of the match. It was just two guys who fucking hate each other inside Full Sail University with nothing. Bare bones. Beating the shit out of one another until one guy stood tall and ended up being victorious. I don't want the commentary team over this. That's the thing. Because the way that they handled the Randy Orton Edge match at WrestleMania, it just brings me back to that. I don't know if this commentary team can really sell me on the fact that, they're starting at the ground floor and moving all the way through the middle of the building and up to the roof. I would like it to be a cinematic WWE production, and I really wanted them to go all out. So the only thing I do think is a positive here is that it's going to keep people, if you're not really interested in the pay-per-view, it's going to keep people invested in the show throughout because, if you're watching the show or you're one of those people that didn't have any interest in the show and you want to watch the show because of what the match is going to be or the unpredictability of it, they're not going to give it to you right up front and center on its own. They're going to drag it out until the end of the show, so you got to stay till the end of the show to find out who's going to win and who's going to fly off the top. So WWE is using it to their advantage to keep interest in the show. I don't know how it's going to end up. I would just say, to me, I would go the Johnny and Ciampa route, but having it spread out across the pay-per-view should be a good thing for WWE, so we'll figure out what they do there. Now, with the other thing happening, the other big story besides the cinematic matches, or the cinematic match, the women and men's ladder match happening at the same time, there's another storyline on WWE television that has caught the eye of a lot of people, and that is the SmackDown hacker storyline. It's not CM Punk. CM Punk is not going to show up in an empty arena setting and re-debut with the WWE. So it's not that. I would fear for WWE's creative, intuitions that if CM Punk is brought back, that they would have better for CM Punk in the WWE than some fucking hacker storyline. Fox is doing their job. If you guys seen what Fox, the WWE on Fox Twitter account, may I have your attention, please? And they reference CM Punk as the hacker. They're only trying their best on their side to build intrigue for this SmackDown hacker storyline. Now, the SmackDown hacker made another appearance on this week's episode of Friday Night SmackDown with more clues being dropped ahead of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. There was a new clue dropped after SmackDown on social media. The new video starts out with Tamina beating Sasha Banks to earn a WWE title match. Then it cuts to Bayley and Sasha at ringside after the match, and Tamina standing tall in the ring with her hand being raised by Lacey Evans. The video then cuts to Big E winning the WWE SmackDown Tag Team titles in a match that also included The Miz and Jey Uso. The next scene is of Carmella and Dana Brooke in a backstage segment where Carmella tells Dana that they need to focus on their match against Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. That is followed by the hacker talking about anger being a thing you hear before you see it. The video then cuts to a voicemail from someone saying, "I'll tell you one thing, payback is coming and it's coming real soon." It's not clear. That was said on SmackDown, by the way. Now, it's not clear what the hacker's intentions are, but last week, a video that aired showed coordinates that the match at the Performance Center is lining up with the coordinates of the hacker, or the pay-per-view is taking place at the Performance Center. And on the hacker's phone, the passcode for his phone was 051020, which happens to line up with today's date of Money in the Bank. Now, the coordinates on the hacker's Twitter account have been updated to 30.6174 north and 90.2612 west. Those coordinates point to you need us, Louisiana. Now, it's anyone's guess what that means, but in previous tweets, the coordinates have pointed to places like Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, Never Sink, New York, and Last Chance, Ohio. Truth or Consequences, New Mexico happens to be the gimmick hometown of Cactus Jack. The prevailing theory amongst fans is that there are at least two people behind the hacker videos, with most people thinking that it's Mustafa Ali and Chad Gable. It also sounds like a woman's voice in the voicemail is the one that was played in the new video. So you guys could go back and look at their Twitter accounts at WWE The Message or Message WWE, whatever it is. They have this Twitter account dedicated to the hacker, which they've had in their pocket since 2010. That was used for Linda McMahon when she was running for whatever she was running for in Connecticut. So they just turned that into the hacker's Twitter account. I don't know where they're going with this. I honestly, my gut instinct here with the hacker is that they're doing a lot because fans have actually been smart and have uncovered some dirt on this hacker storyline. They figured out who the voice was. One of the voices was Mustafa Ali. One of the voices ended up being Chad Gable. One of the voices ended up being Xavier Woods. So we got three voices here for this hacker. Xavier Woods, I don't think fits into that. I don't think that they're going to break up the New Day. I really don't. If Xavier Woods is broken away from the New Day, would I mind it? No. I really don't mind it at all. I think Xavier Woods has enough talent. He's about ready to come back, I believe, in the next couple of months. But Xavier Woods has enough talent on his own to really go out and break out on his own. So does Big E. Kofi did it last year with the WWE Championship. They're three singles guys in a group comprised of the New Day. So that's that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's Xavier Woods. What I will say is I think it's Mustafa Ali. I think it's Mustafa Ali. Not only because we've heard his voice in these clips, not only because he's been missing, he's gone missing, and so is Chad Gable, he's been off TV, but if they're showing these clips of The Truth Shall Be Heard, and one of these clips includes The New Day and them winning the tag team championships, Big E and Kofi Kingston are the tag team champions right now. Kofi Kingston was in last year's gauntlet match, which led to him being in the Elimination Chamber, which led to him being in the WWE Championship match at WrestleMania. Who was supposed to be in the Elimination Chamber before Kofi Kingston got that spot? It was supposed to be Mustafa Ali. Why was Mustafa Ali taken out of that Elimination Chamber match? Because Randy Orton stomped a hole in his eyeball and gave him a fracture. And that was the one thing that a lot of fans hung on to with Mustafa Ali. He never really got a fair shot after that. Everybody forgot about him. Meanwhile, that was supposed to be him. All the rumors you read that Mustafa Ali was supposed to be in the WWE Championship match going into WrestleMania against Daniel Bryan. It was never meant to be Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston was never meant to be in that position. They put him there and it just got over on its own. It took on a life of its own. He took a spot away from Mustafa Ali and he never really cared or mentioned about the spot he took away from Mustafa Ali. Not on TV, at least. He might have said something in real life about how he feels about Mustafa Ali and how devastating that must have been to him, knowing that he could have been breaking through and an injury took him out of all the plans that were scheduled for him. It could be Mustafa Ali coming up and seeking revenge on Kofi Kingston. I don't know who has made mention of that. I don't know who cares to remember that. I remember it because I am a big advocate for Mustafa Ali. I think he's too good to not be on television. I get that Mustafa Ali is just like all the other guys. There really is no difference with Mustafa Ali. You see Mustafa Ali, you see a bunch of guys in the WWE that do the same thing. Ricochet, Seth Rollins, etc., right? But he had no character. He was just there. He was just Mustafa Ali. You can only get so far in the WWE by just being you. And Mustafa Ali is just like everybody else that WWE has brought up to the roster. Buddy Murphy and all these guys that do the same thing. What makes Mustafa Ali stand out more so than these other guys? Just being himself. Nothing. Nothing really. Great wrestler. Great seller. You know, he's got all the talent in the world to be a world champion. But what they needed to do with him was give him character. And I think this is it. And what better way to reintroduce him than to bring up something that really just killed him on the inside. And maybe this is a way to get back at the New Day. Maybe this is a way to get back at Kofi Kingston. Because the other teams or the other individuals that they're showing in this, Bayley and Tamina with Sasha Banks, why do we need Mustafa Ali to uncover the truth about Sasha Banks and Bayley and their deteriorating relationship? You could read Sasha Banks' body language and figure out that Sasha wants the title. You don't need a hacker to uncover the true feelings there. It's all over Sasha Banks and Bayley's body language and the actions of Bayley. You don't need Mustafa Ali as a hacker to uncover that. Tamina factors nothing into this. She's only there to further along the storyline with Bayley and Sasha Banks. Then we got Miz and Jey Uso with Big E. Or Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, Carmella and Dana Brooke. None of those people matter. Those are names and teams just thrown in there to throw you off the scent of who it really is going to end up being. And the voice that we heard on SmackDown, a lot of people were saying that the voice sounded very similar to Ronda Rousey or a Mickie James. I don't know why WWE would have Ronda Rousey in this. Mickie James. It did sound like a female voice. I don't know what Mickie James would factor or play into this or how she would play into this. You know, but I want you guys to think about Mustafa Ali coming back and seeking revenge, the truth. And this is his way of revenge, seeking the truth about what really happened to him in the Elimination Chamber, why he was taken out, why his moment, his WrestleMania moment, his potential WrestleMania moment was taken away from him. So we'll see what happens with that. But apparently we are going to get something tonight on the SmackDown Hacker storyline. So, again, let me know what you guys think about that down below. The Money in the Bank ladder match includes Daniel Bryan. Now, he's been feuding with Sami Zayn, and I don't think Daniel Bryan is really going to factor into the Money in the Bank ladder match. I just look at the field, and it never really sits right on a babyface. I could see Bryan holding the briefcase, because he's had it once before. But now, I don't think that WWE is going to give Bryan the briefcase. A, he's been feuding with Sami Zayn over the Intercontinental Championship, who right now is absent in his own right from WWE television. And Daniel Bryan's contract is up at the end of the summer. So I don't think WWE is going to commit to giving Daniel Bryan a Money in the Bank briefcase when he hasn't really signed a new WWE deal. Now, there are rumors going around that Daniel Bryan might retire. He might be one of those guys that WWE calls upon once or twice a year. He might not want to do the in-ring full-time thing anymore. I don't know. Or he might want to go somewhere else and really expand his horizons and challenge himself. But he's got a new child on the way. And we're in the middle of this pandemic. And who knows what Bryan's mindset is. Maybe he doesn't want to be there anymore. Maybe he wants to be home with his family during this. And maybe he'll revisit wrestling again when everything calms down. I don't know. But I don't think WWE is going to give Daniel Bryan the Money in the Bank briefcase. Doesn't really fit with what's going on in his world right now. The Wrestling Observer newsletter, though, does report that WWE has always wanted Daniel Bryan in the Money in the Bank match, which should surprise nobody because Bryan is a very notable name, and he's a former Money in the Bank briefcase holder. His stint feuding with Sami Zayn was apparently going to be paused regardless of Sami Zayn's whereabouts, who right now also has the Intercontinental Championship at home. Even though Zayn is the IC champion and WrestleMania seemed to start a long-term program with Bryan chasing the IC title, Bryan was always booked to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match before Zayn made the call to not attend the recent tapings. Sami Zayn did not want to attend the latest set of tapings because of obvious reasons. It is his right to do so, even though I do think he will be punished in the future. We'll have to see if he does return to SmackDown or what happens with the IC title. The longer he stays home, the WWE is going to have to make an executive decision on that IC title. It's coming up to the time where I do think WWE is eventually going to take that title from him the longer he stays home. It should be on television. It's not right for Sami Zayn to hold the title hostage because he doesn't want to show up. If WWE is continuing with the TV taping, the title needs to be on SmackDown because there really isn't anything for all those other guys to fight for. So if that's the case, WWE might hold an interim tournament. Sami Zayn might factor into that when he comes back or when he wants to come back. But Bryan could ultimately end up in a makeshift tournament for the Intercontinental Championship as well, which will give another reason as to why he won't win the Money in the Bank. So WWE right now is going to keep Bryan in the ladder match to give it some credibility and some spotlight with a big name. And then they're going to move him on to the Intercontinental title picture, whatever that picture is, after Money in the Bank. So if you guys have money on Daniel Bryan, if you're playing Wrestle Rumble, WrestleRumble.com, you guys can get your picks in there. You can win $1,000 tonight playing Wrestle Rumble. Do not bet on Daniel Bryan. I don't think he's going to factor into any Money in the Bank briefcase plans. Someone else who was never supposed to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match is Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews was injured per storyline. He's not really hurt. In storyline during his match with Andrade a couple of weeks ago on Monday Night Raw. That led to being pulled from the match. That led to him being pulled from the match. Now, it has been revealed that this was not a change of plans, and Cruz was never meant to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Dave Meltzer reported the following in the newsletter on Wrestling Observer, and I quote, "The Money in the Bank match was actually taped the week of April 13th. The Apollo Crews storyline was always planned for him to qualify but not compete in the match, with Styles returning. For all those times WWE has changed their plans, it looks like they were sticking to their guns. After Crews was removed from the match, AJ returned to Raw to take his place. Styles won that shitty gauntlet match on Raw, which made no sense. Remember the gauntlet match that buried Andrade's guys there, Zelina's guys? Angel Garza and Austin Theory buried, propelling him to be the odds-on favorites, AJ Styles, in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Now look at the guys in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Before anything, before Corbin and before Styles, I want you guys to just be wary of what was going on here. They had Daniel Bryan qualify. Baron Corbin and Otis qualified later. Daniel Bryan, Aleister Black, Rey Mysterio, and Apollo Crews. Now, Black, Mysterio, and Cruz all qualified on the same night on Monday Night Raw. With Daniel Bryan, That is 4 baby faces in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. They added Corbin and Otis. So then, before that, obviously, they pulled Apollo Crews. And I'm thinking that someone in WWE was looking at this and thinking of the plans that they had lined up for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. They looked at the big field of 6 that they were going to have at the end of this. If Apollo Crews was in there, besides AJ Styles, the only heel in the match would have been Baron Corbin. So someone in WWE looked at this and said, you know what? We got 5 baby faces and 1 heel in this match. Now, if that was the case, Baron Corbin's likelihood of winning the Money in the Bank briefcase would have been through the roof. Because the Money in the Bank briefcase usually does not go to a baby face. It usually goes to a heel. So someone in WWE came to their senses and realized that they were babyface heavy in this match, with Apollo being there besides AJ Styles. So they pulled Apollo Crews. They gave him an injury storyline for whatever reason. I don't know how that's going to factor into anything. It might factor him into winning the United States Championship and getting revenge on Andrade and coming back and really doing it this time. Or it could lead to him being a heel. How that happens or how WWE goes about that, I don't know. I really don't know, because the rumors were this past weekend that WWE is going to line him up with MVP. MVP is now leading a new group of guys with Brendan Vink, Shane Thorne, and Apollo Crews could be involved in that as well. I said, why don't you go a step further? If Apollo is not meant to be in that heel group, it's obviously something that needs to make sense. Don't do it immediately just because you want to get this guy into certain plans, or don't do it without a proper explanation or a proper guy for him to turn heel against, right? So I said, why not include Riddick Moss? MVP's a decent enough guy on the microphone that he could get these guys over, give them some credibility, even though MVP, I don't really give a shit about MVP. Get Riddick Moss in there. Now, the reason why I say Riddick Moss is because MVP's that cool, show-offy type of guy. He's got the watches, he's got the chains, he's got the nice glasses, he's in the VIP lounge, right? He's thinking he's better than everybody. And Riddick Moss played that type of guy when he was in a tag team with Tino Sabatelli down in NXT. Now, they released Tino Sabatelli, and then Riddick Moss was undergoing some gimmick changes, finding what was working for him. He had the Riddick regimen, which I actually enjoyed. I think he's a very, very good athlete. I wanted to see more of him. He's not a bad wrestler either. So then they brought him up and they put him with Mojo Rawley, and the 24/7 championship went out the window. And I do think that it would make sense by putting Riddick in the group of MVP, Brendan Vink, and Shane Thorne, because right now they're feuding with Ricochet and they're feuding with Cedric Alexander. And if you guys remember, we got Riddick Moss beating Ricochet all those weeks ago on Monday Night Raw, where we all claimed that Ricochet was inevitably buried. That was before they lined him up with Cedric Alexander. Riddick Moss would make sense. I just find Apollo Crews to be a heel all of a sudden, something that doesn't make sense. I'm all for it. I actually want it to happen, but it needs to make sense. If you're going to do it, at least give me an explanation as to why he turned heel. And give me a guy that I could believe in him turning heel against. So, I don't know what WWE does with that. The injury, it's tough when there's no fans there. The injury I could see being a good thing if there were actually fans in attendance, because if Apollo gave you a great match with Andrade and ultimately beat himself, Andrade never beat him for the United States Championship. Apollo was on his way to winning that match. Having the match end in the way that it did, and the referee pulling him from that match and giving the match to Andrade, I could see, if there were fans in attendance, fans developing sympathy for Apollo. But with this empty arena shit, how are you going to develop sympathy for Apollo Crews? It's not going to be the same, and I feel like it's just going to be one of those things that flies underneath the radar and nobody's really going to give a shit at the end of the day. I want things to make sense. So, with that being the case, that's why Apollo Crews was pulled out of the Money in the Bank ladder match. For everybody that was saying, oh, here we go, they're going to take Apollo off television again. He was just there because he was a warm body to put on these shows. Someone legitimately looked at the field of men in this match and said, you know what, we got 5 baby faces and 1 fucking heel. So that's why they took him out, and AJ came in. AJ is now the 6th guy to qualify, and he is the other heel. And right now, the odds-on favorite to win the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Money in the Bank will be live, by the way. This is in the notes as well. WWE is having the show live at the Performance Center. And like I said, the Money in the Bank ladder matches have been filmed already. They're in the can. They were in the can since April 13th. So WWE had an entire month to get this looking right for tonight. Hopefully, they don't disappoint. The company will film Raw tomorrow, and that will be as close to live as possible. It will not be live, and WWE will undertake a new scheduling going forward as well. The typical schedule that we've been seeing with them taping Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for the next 2 weeks to follow. That is the schedule that they're undergoing right now. So Monday Night Raw will be filmed for the next 2 weeks, tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. There is a big stunt planned for the Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, they've teased this. WWE has teased this through AJ Styles, Aleister Black, Rey Mysterio, Baron Corbin, and they teased, I think, Corbin throwing Otis off the roof of Titan Tower. No matter what they are doing and who they have doing it, someone is going off. At some point during the show, someone is going off Titan Tower. I don't think it's any of the women. I don't think WWE is going to do this with any of the women. I do have one man in mind for a early flight during Money in the Bank. Now, during promos on Monday Night Raw, it was teased that someone will be falling off the top of WWE Headquarters during one or both of the ladder matches at Money in the Bank. The ladder matches at WWE Headquarters were taped, and Dave Meltzer noted in The Observer that people who were aware of what went down at the taping noted that Vince McMahon was showing someone how to go off the top. This would be the person who was supposed to fall off, and they were shown a demonstration with safety precautions in place. Obviously, no one is actually going off legitimately, but the match is being filmed like a Hollywood movie, so the editing will make it look that way. If you guys remember, they did the same thing with Baron Corbin and Elias a couple weeks ago, and that was before their WrestleMania match, where Corbin was on that little eagle perch inside the Performance Center. They knocked Elias off, and they filmed it as if he really fell off, but he really didn't. So that's exactly what they're going to do with Money in the Bank. Becky Lynch did an interview this week where she talked about McMahon going over a crazy spot in the match in regards to someone falling off the tower. And AJ Styles made a reference to falling off the tower during his promo on Monday Night Raw when he won the gauntlet match. Whatever they have planned is sure to be something crazy. It's supposed to be silly and very Hollywood-esque, and that it's meant to get people buzzing on social media. The feeling is that a cinematic match can help make up for the dull atmosphere at the Performance Center. Now, the Performance Center matches will air live. In addition to those matches, WWE is also teasing that the SmackDown hacker will make his or her presence felt. So we already talked about that. Who is going off the roof of Titan Tower at Money in the Bank? Will it be AJ Styles? I don't think it will be AJ Styles. WWE already buried AJ Styles in a grave, and I don't think having AJ Styles just undertake this character of how many ways can we kill AJ Styles on WWE is a good thing for AJ Styles. I think we've seen enough of AJ and the cinematic stunts for 1 year. Rey Mysterio is not flying off Titan Tower. Aleister Black is certainly not flying off Titan Tower. Daniel Bryan is certainly not flying off Titan Tower. Otis is not flying off Titan Tower. Baron Corbin, in my eyes, is the one to fly off Titan Tower. Why Baron Corbin? Because Baron Corbin has a flight coming to him courtesy of Elias. I do think Elias shows face in this match, and I think Elias stops Baron Corbin from winning the Money in the Bank. He will be our unsung hero for tonight because, God forbid, we got to call him King Money in the Bank. Elias is going to toss Baron Corbin off of Titan Tower and get his revenge for being tossed off the eagle perch at the Performance Center before WrestleMania. That is my prediction. If you guys think that is something that you could see happening, let me know down in the comments of this video, and let me know who you think is going off the roof of Titan Tower. We got 1,500 people, almost 1,500 people watching. So thank you guys so much, man. Let's get that up. Let's get the likes up. I would really appreciate it. The likes help out the channel. I'm doing this for you guys here. I would really appreciate it. So make sure you guys do that. It helps the video get into the recommended. It helps the channel out. It gets the channel and the podcast out in front of more eyes and ears. So I would really appreciate that. So make sure you guys do that. And follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. So you guys can tweet live with me tonight during the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. And one more piece of information here that WWE might have spoiled part of Money in the Bank, not only on Monday, but then again on Friday. Now, normally in WWE, you know, there is a lot of confusion. Some people in one department might not know what someone else or a group of people are doing in another department. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, is what they say. WWE might have spoiled the women's Money in the Bank outcome on Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. Now, how did they do that? If you guys were paying attention, you guys might have picked up on this. I was looking at myself and I'm like, what the fuck did they just do? Are they really that fucking stupid? Now, granted, you look at the field of women in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and only one woman stands out as a potential winner. All 5 other women in that match don't make sense. Especially someone on SmackDown. Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, even though I could see Lacey Evans winning the Money in the Bank ladder match because she's blonde and she's got big tits and she's got long legs. And that's the protocol for a superstar in the women's division to Vince McMahon and Lacey Evans. You know, she got me a nice little toothbrush for my anniversary. You know, I could certainly see something like that happening where she gets it and then we all cry on social media and Vince does, this is good shit. Right? Nobody wants to see that. I hope to God not. Carmella, Dana Brooke, and Lacey Evans. Trash. Carmella won her fair share of Money in the Bank. She won 1 Money in the Bank, by the way. 1. The first one, a male won. So WWE clearly has got to enhance and buff stats for their female performers and their male performers. Carmella won 1 Money in the Bank, not 2. Because I don't remember her climbing the ladder the first time. It was James Ellsworthless. It was Carmella winning the second match that they had to restart, where she won the briefcase. Dana Brooke winning a briefcase. Jesus fucking Christ. Holy shit, man. That would be the end of days, legitimately, if Dana Brooke won the Money in the Bank briefcase. And then Lacey Evans, God forbid. Seriously, God forbid. Now, if you look at the Monday Night Raw side of things, I only see one winner. Nia Jax is not winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. And Asuka, she's already had her fair share of title matches against Becky Lynch. Twice lost. That's it. Now, what did WWE do? Dave Meltzer noted on WWE, or on The Observer, that WWE might have given away the finish to their women's ladder match. It stated that Becky Lynch on Monday, on the Raw following Money in the Bank, that Becky Lynch is going to confront the winner of the Money in the Bank women's ladder match. Now, clearly, if that is the case, the winner of the ladder match is going to happen to be someone from Monday Night Raw. Unless WWE changes the rules and has someone on SmackDown win it and then show up on Monday Night Raw and challenge Becky Lynch. But, I mean, the way the brand split is set up, it's a Monday Night Raw superstar wins and they challenge for the title on their brand. Unless given further notice. I don't know why WWE would actually have this air. So now what they did is pretty much give away the winner of the ladder match. It's not going to be Nia Jax. It's not going to be Asuka. It's going to be Shayna Baszler. And if that's the case, the Money in the Bank women's ladder match is going to the right woman. I don't know what WWE is going to do. I hope on Monday we get a new champion because Shayna should not carry around the briefcase. She should have that character of, you're here, I'm here, so is the briefcase. Give me my title match now because I never should have lost at WrestleMania. So maybe on Monday night we get a cash-in on Becky Lynch, which I'm hoping for. And it would fit into the WWE way of things the last couple of years as well. They have not really held on to the briefcase whatsoever. They went for an immediate cash-in, whether it's the night of or the next night. because WWE is so fucking lazy and uncreative. They don't want to have fun over a span of 12 months with the briefcase. They want to get it over with and move on to something else. So if Shayna is going to win, I would hope for an immediate cash-in, and she should already be the winner. I shouldn't even be talking about Shayna Baszler winning the title now. She should have won the title at WrestleMania. But Shayna is going to win this match, and WWE might have spoiled it on Sunday for all of us at the pay-per-view. So we'll see what happens tonight at Money in the Bank. And that is all the news I got on Money in the Bank. I got one more story coming from Aleister Black, which I was surprised by who interviewed him and what he said in regards to his run on WWE's main roster. But we'll talk about that when we get to the Money in the Bank ladder match here. Quickly, guys, let's go over my predictions here for the rest of the show. Outside the ladder matches, honestly, the show looks like a dud. So hopefully that ladder match delivers. We're going to start at the bottom. Jeff Hardy and Cesaro will be the pre-show. I'm going with Jeff Hardy. Obviously, Cesaro's not going to win. Jeff Hardy is back. He took care of Sheamus. Sheamus looked like a fucking goofball. He looked like a geek on SmackDown because he just laid there and took it from Jeff Hardy and did nothing about it. Honestly. Jeff Hardy, like I mentioned on my SmackDown review, did what he did to Sheamus. He gave him a drop kick. He gave him a twist of fury. And he gave him a whisper in the wind. And a swanton, or whatever he gave him. And Sheamus just laid there. And then Jeff Hardy, with Sheamus in the ring, goes and poses on the top turnbuckle, and Sheamus doesn't get up to beat the shit out of this guy. Sheamus looked like a geek. And so did Jeff Hardy. And I like both guys, believe me. But that was terrible. That came off terrible. Jeff Hardy's going to beat Cesaro because it's his first match back. Well, not really. He had a match against Baron Corbin. Then they started these video packages. So I don't see Jeff Hardy losing, coming back against Cesaro. WWE gives Cesaro a victory. Give me a break. Jeff Hardy's going to win. MVP versus R-Truth. I would assume that MVP gets the win because he's got this new stable. But if I am booking this, and the rumors of Vince McMahon being big on Brendan Vink, I would actually get Brendan Vink or Shane Thorne in there to go one-on-one with R-Truth, because why does MVP need to do something when he's got two handymen to do it for him? Either way, I'm looking at MVP winning this absolutely irrelevant and worthless match on Money in the Bank. If this match is off the show would actually be a lot shorter in length, but WWE clearly just wants to give quantity over quality. We don't give a shit. WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Fatal 4-Way. New Day, who are the champions, versus Miz and Morrison, versus the Forgotten Sons, versus the Lucha Loser House Party. Now, we all know what WWE does with their favorites, right? Becky Lynch is their favorite. And the New Day are their favorite tag team besides the Usos. And now that the Usos are injured and Jimmy Uso is out for 6 to 9 months, the New Day have now taken sole possession of WWE's favorite tag team once again. 9-time tag team champions. Now, I don't see them losing this match. I don't. I don't know why they gave the New Day the tag team championships to begin with, only to have Miz and Morrison challenge for them again here. I would have keeping the titles on Miz and Morrison and then had the title change here happen with the New Day if they wanted to go that route, and give the New Day their 9th tag team title reign here. I don't know why it needed to happen in a random edition of SmackDown, a lackluster main event, and it wasn't even a tag team match. It wasn't even a tag team match. It was a triple threat match with one individual member of each team. Now, the big thing in this is how WWE is treating the Forgotten Sons. I wish WWE would have gone out of their way and done more with the Forgotten Sons video package here. Let me know who Wesley Blake is. Let me know who Steve Cutler is. Let me know why Jackson Riker is such a dominating figure in the Forgotten Sons. Let me know their backstory, why they're here, why they got called up from NXT or called down from NXT. You know, Lucha House Party. Where have they factored into anything tag team title related? They got a win over Miz and Morrison just for the simple fact of the fucking idiots out there watching this rubbish, this fucking trash. They only won over Miz and Morrison because they needed a way to justify these guys even being there. Otherwise, they would not even be in discussion. This is your tag team division. And then they want to go up and break up Heavy Machinery. Otis is a single. Where's Tucker Knight? I don't know why Heavy Machinery isn't factoring in. While they're the most over guys on the fucking brand, with Otis leading the way, why they're not fighting for the tag team championships. Now, let's give it right back to the New Day. I don't understand it. The Forgotten Sons, no matter what the outcome is here, cannot lose. They already pinned the New Day. They pinned the New Day on SmackDown. If they are in this match and they're not going to win the tag team titles, they should not factor into the outcome. You got the Lucha House Party there. So whoever wins this match, more than likely, should pin the Lucha House Party. It's a fatal four-way. Any man could be pinned. And that's the outcome. I don't see them taking the title off the New Day. I don't. And if the Forgotten Sons are being pushed towards the tag team title picture or the tag team titles in general, I don't think it needs to happen so soon. I want more depth to the story. Like, give me a legitimate story as to why the Forgotten Sons are chasing. You know, develop a story there. They don't need to win the tag team titles now because what good does it do if they win the tag team titles now? The tag team titles are worthless. Absolutely worthless. So if the Forgotten Sons win, is anyone going to take them seriously? No. They've already beaten the New Day. They've beaten the New Day in a non-title match. People should be opening their eyes up to them now. What good is it if they win the titles? What do the titles mean? The New Day have done nothing with the championships for them to be important, for the Forgotten Sons to beat them for the titles. You need to get some wins under one of these teams' belt. How could that be done when you got no fucking tag teams on this show? If the Forgotten Sons really want to be taken as a serious threat, they should be mowing down team after team after team after team after team. How could they do that when they've already beaten the New Day, when they've already showed up and have taken care of Miz and Morrison, they've already taken care of the Lucha House Party? Who else is there for the Forgotten Sons to go out there and beat so that they look credible? You cannot call a division with 4 teams. 3 in this case, because the Lucha House Party are just warm bodies in there. There's no division. And then you want to break up Heavy Machinery because Otis is a single. What the fuck does that do to Tucker Knight? Absolutely inexcusable. Still, at 5 teams, it's not a division. There's not enough depth. There's not. Look at AEW's tag team division. If you are a team at the bottom and you're working your way through the top, you get a victory over the Best Friends. You get a victory over Private Party. You get a victory over SCU. You get a victory over the Butcher and the Blade. You get a victory over the Dark Order. Right? Then you beat the Young Bucks. I think at that point, it's pretty safe to say that you're looking at the fucking team that's beating all these teams. I think they're ready for a tag team title match. I think they're ready for Paige and Omega. You can't even do that. You can't even talk about that here. Why? Why is there such negligence in the SmackDown and Raw tag team divisions? What's going to happen when the Street Profits eventually get their victory over the Viking Raiders? Who's next? Who's next? Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne? What's his name? Cedric and Ricochet? That's not a fucking division. It's not even a division. You don't even have a legit tag team in Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. It's just 2 singles guys paired together. There's no depth. You're giving me shit that is absolutely unimportant and irrelevant. Yet I'm the one who fucking complains. Do better. Make it make sense. The New Day win. Because why the fuck do the Forgotten Sons need the tag team title? What happens then? Who do they go on and defend the titles against? Huh? You're gonna be there and, oh my God, I can't wait to see the Forgotten Sons versus the Lucha House Party. I can't wait to see the Forgotten Sons versus Miz and Morrison. Yeah, like that's gonna really burn the Performance Center down to the ground. And the Forgotten Sons are very good. They're a great tag team. But why should I care? You put no effort into giving me a reason to care about them and who they are. Of course everybody's going to be like, oh, they're forgotten. It's the one tagline, the one joke. Oh, yeah, they're already forgotten. No shit. Because you didn't do anything for me to remember them by. Bayley versus Tamina for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I don't know what you want me to say here. I really don't. Bayley and Sasha is going to happen. Clearly, we cannot get that with Tamina Snuka in the championship picture. So she's going to be removed tonight at Money in the Bank. Now, the only reason why Tamina would actually win this match, and God forbid she does, I don't think WWE is this brain dead. The only reason why Tamina would even sniff a women's championship is because of her seniority there, for the longevity that she has given to the company. But this woman's been off TV for the better part of 2.5 years. Now you want me to believe in Tamina Snuka? God forbid she's the leader of this women's division. Holy shit, the woman couldn't even climb the top rope to deliver a fucking big splash on SmackDown. Looks like she had 2 right feet climbing the top rope. Bayley wins. This match is a bathroom break. Give me Bayley and Sasha. Tamina is only there to accelerate the story of Sasha Banks and Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Nia Jax, Asuka. Hopefully Nia Jax gets lost in fucking the cafeteria area. She'll go to the cafeteria area, realize that there's no food because there's no employees working there, and then she'll be disappointed. Nia Jax, Asuka, and Shayna Baszler on the Raw side versus Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, and Carmella. This is going to Shayna. And Shayna is going to beat Becky Lynch. And God forbid if WWE doesn't make good on their major fuck-up from WrestleMania. Becky Lynch, I don't give a shit who you are or how big of a Becky Lynch fucking fan you are. You could have murals and fucking a whole fucking statue of Becky Lynch in your bedroom. You could have a room dedicated to her where you go in every morning and pray to the gods of Becky Lynch. You could jerk off to the fucking posters that you got hanging on your wall, right? With your box of tissues and your lube sitting next to you on your nightstand. I don't give a shit who you are. You're a geek. You're someone who refuses other people's fucking opinions on Becky Lynch. The truth of the matter is, Becky Lynch is not over anymore. She's not. I think more people now want to see her lose the Women's Championship than there are people who want her to have the championship. And why should she? Why should Becky Lynch have the championship? This is why I was so pissed coming out of WrestleMania. Becky Lynch is not the same Becky Lynch that I said this multiple times. And people shit on me left and right. Oh, you don't like Becky Lynch. I never said I didn't like Becky Lynch. I don't like the way WWE has booked Becky Lynch. That's why we're in this fucking mess. Let's go back. WWE wanted to turn her heel at SummerSlam against Charlotte, right? Right before all this Becky Lynch mania took place. Charlotte was the one they wanted to push. They wanted to turn Becky Lynch, of all fucking people, heel. Crowd gave WWE backlash. We don't want to boo Becky Lynch. Charlotte is the one you continuously shove down our throat. Fuck Charlotte Flair. So Becky Lynch ended up coming out of that, and everybody wanted to cheer Becky Lynch. Then we get Becky Lynch having her nose broken from Nia Jax, which ended up being a fucking godsend for this woman. Nia Jax sucks. But Nia Jax, then you look back at it, you really can't blame her because she sucks anyway. But looking back at it, it actually ended up being better than what WWE had planned. So thank God Nia Jax broke Becky Lynch's nose. Standing there with the SmackDown shirt on before the Survivor Series, blood dripping down her face. She was the fucking man. Legitimately, she was it. Superstar photo shot. You guys know what I'm talking about. That shot with her bleeding and her nose caved in. That's it. That's the moment that made Becky Lynch. Then we go on to Survivor Series. She can't compete because of the broken nose. In comes Charlotte Flair. Then WWE books Becky Lynch to win the Royal Rumble. She wins the Royal Rumble, and it's one big epic scene, and we get Becky Lynch going on to challenge Ronda. I remember the stare down that Becky and Ronda had. Crowd was going crazy. It was the one thing that everybody wanted. WWE makes it a triple threat match because, God forbid, their fucking android, their blonde android, is out of a main event, WrestleMania main event of the women. First ever, historic, right? Gotta have Charlotte. Can't be just Becky. It's gotta be Charlotte. So they only did that to get Charlotte in there by name recognition alone. She didn't belong there. She didn't make the match better. She didn't deserve it. So it is what it is. And then when Becky won both titles, when Becky won both titles, what did they do with Becky Lynch? They killed everything that they had built up from the Survivor Series all the way till WrestleMania. The very first feud they put her in, it was against Lacey Evans. Who the fuck could possibly care about that? How is Lacey Evans, A, big enough or over enough with the fans to challenge Becky Lynch? Right? They had this go on for months. And then after that, they take Becky Lynch and feud her with Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin, pairing her up with her real-life fiancé in Seth Rollins. Not only did that make her look fucking stupid, but it absolutely killed any credibility that Seth Rollins had as he feuded with Baron Corbin for 3 straight months. Dead. Turned him heel. It absolutely turned everyone against Seth Rollins. It turned everybody against Becky Lynch. Cringe. Absolutely cringe. Then they tried to fucking rehabilitate Seth Rollins. Brock Lesnar wins Money in the Bank. Seth Rollins is going on to challenge Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship again. He beats him at SummerSlam. They try so badly to get him back to where he was, but too little too late. Fans don't forget it. Becky Lynch went on from Lacey Evans to go and wrestle Sasha Banks, which I thought was rushed. And even though it delivered a great Hell in a Cell match, one of the best Hell in a Cell matches I think we've seen in WWE history, it was rushed. I don't think Sasha should have lost that whatsoever. They only did that because WWE had fucked up everything before with Becky Lynch. They had no credible heels to go up against Becky Lynch. So in comes Sasha, and Sasha had to pay the price because of WWE's negligence for the women's division. That's what they get for not booking a strong women's division. They're forced to give you Sasha. Sasha got shipped off to SmackDown. Then WWE, per Paul Heyman, gave you Becky Lynch and Asuka as the next feud on Monday Night Raw. Which Asuka, right? Asuka beat Becky Lynch at Royal Rumble that year before she went on to win the title at WrestleMania. So we get the rematch a year later. Paul Heyman's like, well, we got to fill in the blanks here. This woman beat Becky Lynch, and all year we don't revisit it. So Becky Lynch comes back, and she gets her revenge on Asuka. Decent storyline. I wasn't buying into it whatsoever because I knew what the outcome was. But it was a fun little decent storyline to get Becky Lynch into WrestleMania. And then in comes Shayna Baszler. And what does WWE do? They botch that as well. Started off strong with the bite her around the world. Becky Lynch and her neck bitten by Shayna Baszler. And then after that, forget about it. Shayna Baszler was buried. Nobody took her seriously. Becky Lynch didn't take her seriously. In turn, the fans didn't take her seriously. And then when we get to WrestleMania, this woman who was brought up simply because she's the baddest woman on WWE's women's roster, best friends with Ronda Rousey, couldn't get the job done. They botched her winning the championship when she should have won the championship at WrestleMania. Now you're going to give her the Money in the Bank, and she's going to win the title from Becky Lynch. But look at all the damage that I just detailed about Becky Lynch's run. Becky Lynch is best in chasing the title. After all this time, she should have met her match, and she should have been put back into that situation of chasing the heel. Now that she's held the title for so long, everybody wants to see her lose. Her momentum has gone right out the window. Nobody gives a shit about her like they gave a shit about her back last year. And this is all the reality of the situation, folks. This is all the reality of the situation. Shayna Baszler wins. We get a cash in on Monday night. That is the best course of action here. And goodbye, Becky Lynch. Go do your Hollywood. Take a couple of months off. Come back for SummerSlam. You'll be good to go. And at that point, does WWE do justice to Shayna Baszler? I don't know. You got some women on that show that could absolutely go up against Shayna Baszler that I would like to see. Asuka, and you got Bianca Belair waiting in the wings because Bianca and Shayna had some pretty decent matches down in NXT. So Shayna has her work cut out for her. Becky Lynch needs to go. She needs to go to get to that rehabilitation point for the women's division because all Becky Lynch is doing right now is holding that division down. WWE Creative has done absolutely nothing but shit for the women's division on Monday night. Same thing for SmackDown. None of these divisions feel important whatsoever. It's just a waste of a TV slot on Monday and Friday. Those are my thoughts on the women's division and the women's division as a whole. in WWE. Shayna wins. She wins the title. Let's finally move on to the next chapter with Shayna as the women's champion. Daniel Bryan, Baron Corbin, Otis, Aleister Black, Rey Mysterio, and AJ Styles in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. I want to say Aleister Black, but then I also think about, and I've also heard people's opinions as well, that Aleister Black's a babyface, and it's going to look stupid of him to carry the red Money in the Bank Raw briefcase. So I'm going with AJ Styles. You didn't put AJ Styles in this match to lose. You put AJ Styles in this match to rectify his loss, to come back from his loss about being buried at WrestleMania by The Undertaker. And AJ is a heel. If AJ cashes in on Drew McIntyre, it's going to look a little bit more dynamic than if it's Aleister Black. Aleister Black is someone who's always ready to fight. Aleister Black has already proven himself to be a top contender just by the wins that he's accumulated on Monday Night Raw. He doesn't really need the briefcase. AJ Styles needs the briefcase. He lost Gallows and Anderson, and he's got nothing else going for him on Monday Night Raw right now. The briefcase looks best in AJ Styles' hand. Rey Mysterio, more than likely, he is gone by the end of his contract. He's got 3 more months left, and then he's off to AEW. Aleister Black, I want to see him be the guy because he's great, but Aleister Black doesn't need the Money in the Bank briefcase. His work on Raw has already proven itself. And him and McIntyre, I think, would be a phenomenal match. You could leave that on the bulletin board in the back and have that be a potential WrestleMania main event next year, if WWE wants to have long-term goals for WrestleMania next year. AJ versus Drew McIntyre, I could see that being a thing. I think that would be great. But Aleister Black doesn't need it. Otis is just there because they're big on Otis right now, and I don't really see him factoring into anything. Daniel Bryan, we already mentioned, he's not going to factor into anything. He's just there because he's Daniel Bryan. Baron Corbin's there because he is a heel, number one, and two, it makes sense for him to be the guy to fall off the roof because everybody hates Baron Corbin. And then Elias wants his revenge, so I could absolutely see that being the case. AJ Styles is going to be this year's Money in the Bank winner. Now, Aleister Black actually spoke with the New York Post newspaper. He discussed his recent booking on Raw. First of all, I'm surprised that the New York Post gives a shit about Aleister Black or pro wrestling in general, but he was asked if he agrees that his build hasn't been rushed. Yeah, I do. It sometimes goes hand in hand with a little bit of frustration because sometimes you want to go faster than what they're allowing you to do. But it has made sure that the audience has got really familiar with Aleister Black. He also dived deeper into how the character came about and the similarities between Aleister Black and the man behind it, Tom Budgen. He said, I've always had a little bit of difficulty understanding other people to the point where I was better off doing my own thing, better off being by myself. I always been kind of a loner. I've never had many friends. I've had a few. It's just something that's in my character, in my personality. A lot of stuff with this is real life, the occult stuff. I grew up having a fascination about world religion, and the fascination grew into other religions and other things, and I kind of dabbled my way into the occult and started reading about the occult. I used a lot of other stuff as well. It's unique. It's mystique. A lot of people don't understand it, and I can use it to my advantage. For me, it was important with the character that I portray that I was effective, efficient, because I said all these things, and every single time I had a match, and all my offense would be countered or ducked, or people would kick out of my moves left and right, then my character, in contrast to my offense, wouldn't make sense. That's why I wanted the Black Mass spinning heel kick to be, if I hit it in most given circumstances, 95% of the time, that's it. End of story. That's how I wanted the audience to be conditioned as well. I think WWE has done a very good job at that, minus that one little hiccup where Buddy Murphy, I don't know whether it was accidentally or if it was supposed to be done by design, kicked out of the Black Mass. So we do have legitimately Buddy Murphy being the only one to kick out of the Black Mass. He went on to add that he's an atheist, meaning he has no religion. As a child, his mother was a Roman Catholic, which he described as quite a warm and welcoming religion, but his father was more strict and unforgiving on religious beliefs, which led him to reading up about religion and ultimately concluding that it wasn't for him. So I found that to be interesting, and it gives you a little bit of an insight as to what Aleister Black is thinking about his story and his character and how he wants himself to be portrayed on WWE television outside of the fact that WWE realized that he might not have even been on the roster. He was forgotten about. No question about that, WWE did not realize what they had in Aleister Black. I looked at Aleister Black in NXT when he was the man in NXT. I'm like, this is the next guy. The next guy that everyone's going to jump on. He looks great. He's great in the ring. He's got a great character. He's got the theme music to back it up. He's got the character. Everything about this guy is just hitting all the check marks. No way this guy can't succeed in WWE. You know, I went out there and said this guy is a modern-day version of The Undertaker. Very little said, all action in the ring. He's got that move that could be compared to the Tombstone and the Black Mass. Everybody hits it. You know, it gets hit by it. It's done. It's over with. WWE didn't realize what they had in Aleister Black. Kept him in a fucking broom closet, drinking bleach because Raw was so bad for about 7-8 months. Then all of a sudden we start seeing him more and more and more. It's like, now you realize what you got in him. Give me a break. I'm glad to see him getting his rub. I'm glad to see him being a focus on Monday Night Raw, because it would be a shame if someone that talented is not being pushed to the moon on WWE television. And I don't know if you guys know this, he's 34 years old, 35 years old. When is the time to push someone like Aleister Black? The longer you wait, the less opportunity he's going to have. So I'm glad to see him on WWE television. He was my number one before AJ got in there, but it doesn't make sense for Aleister to win it. I think he's done enough on his own. I think the heel's going to win it, and AJ is going to really be the guy to chase down the WWE Championship. And I don't think a lot of you guys are in the boat of, you know, I guess having a problem with that. AJ and the WWE Championship, or AJ being in the WWE Championship picture, I think a lot of you guys want him back in that title picture. Speaking of the WWE title picture, Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. We already talked about how Seth Rollins and his descent killed off his character. It is very difficult for Rollins to really invoke a reaction when there's no fans there. This gimmick needs fans. I don't know if it's working without the fans or not. Rollins and McIntyre have cut some pretty damn good fucking promos. Rollins cut some of his best promos leading up to his match with Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. They had one of the best matches of the two-night event. No question. But Rollins, no matter how good his work is on the microphone, it's still not translating and getting over with the audience. I don't think a lot of people buy into Seth Rollins. And on top of that, his guys are missing. AOP are hurt. Buddy Murphy's the only one he got left. He's got no group anymore. So what is he to everybody on Monday Night Raw? He's been stripped of everything. And he's just one guy preaching that he wants to take the burden, the WWE title, away from Drew McIntyre because he's helping him. No, that's not going to help him. That's not going to help Drew McIntyre. It's going to harm Drew McIntyre. Putting the title back on you is what's going to hurt the overall health of Monday Night Raw. Rollins is not going to win this match. No way is he going to win this match. There might be some fuckery here with Buddy Murphy, who's not on the show. But outside that, I see a Claymore kick, and Rollins moves on to his next opponent, which I'm assuming after this, WWE is going to start planting small seeds for what they want to do at SummerSlam. Drew McIntyre, I don't know. I mentioned this, and God, it gives me fucking cold chills. Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal. It's coming. I'm telling you right now, it is inevitable. It's like a fucking... It's like, I'm Nostradamus. I'm telling you what's going to happen. It's coming. McIntyre and Mahal is happening for the WWE title, whether it happens before SummerSlam or at SummerSlam. You're getting it this summer. And AJ Styles, I do believe, is going to factor into that. God forbid Jinder Mahal wins the WWE Championship, but AJ Styles is going to factor into that against Drew McIntyre. Rollins, SummerSlam, I could see Rollins and Edge having a SummerSlam match. The reason why I think Edge is back on Monday is to set up his feud with Seth Rollins moving on into the summer. So we'll see what happens there. And McIntyre is going to Claymore kick his way to retaining the WWE Championship. And finally, guys, Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman. He is the WWE Universal Champion, undeservedly so. One of the worst things about WWE TV is Braun Strowman. I genuinely don't give a shit about this match. I don't. I don't care about Strowman being champion. I don't care about the story. I don't care about the Black Sheep or Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman's history in the Wyatt family, or more importantly, Braun Strowman's history in the Wyatt family. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. All WWE is going to do is take this and continue it because they have legitimately nobody else on SmackDown to feud with Braun Strowman. Can you imagine not doing the right decision tonight by giving Bray Wyatt the WWE Universal Championship simply because you have nobody else lined up for Braun Strowman as a heel on SmackDown? I want you guys to look at that. Think about that. Who else outside Bray Wyatt? And don't tell me Baron Corbin or Sheamus, because those guys don't factor. On SmackDown, could be lined up in a Universal Championship title match or picture against Braun Strowman. Nobody. So the outcome is going to have a direct effect on that aspect. Bray Wyatt is not winning the Universal Championship tonight. And I don't really give a shit. Bray Wyatt has got one foot in the fucking grave as it is. And if Bray Wyatt, the human version of Bray Wyatt, the Mr. Rogers Bray Wyatt, loses, I don't think it's the end of the world. He's always the weaker version of the Bray Wyatt character anyway. So I could see Braun Strowman winning here and retaining the championship, and then The Fiend coming back to haunt Braun Strowman. I could see Bray Wyatt entering the funhouse and having all of his fears become a reality, and then that's what The Fiend is going to really feast on there on his way to winning the WWE Universal Championship again. So I do see Braun Strowman winning this match. The match itself is going to be fucking horrendous. The only other match that Bray Wyatt, human Bray Wyatt, had was against The Miz, and that was awful. So I don't want to have another match like that, but apparently we're going to get another match like that. The clash of styles here is fucking horrendous. Braun Strowman in the ring with anybody is fucking horrendous. But Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, I don't like those mixing of styles whatsoever. So be ready for a long 10 to 12 minutes of a shit WWE Universal Championship match. Braun Strowman's going to win. I could see him winning, and then the lights go out, and then The Fiend is there, so that'll signify The Fiend is now coming for Braun Strowman, and we'll get the next pay-per-view with The Fiend versus Braun Strowman and The Fiend winning the WWE Universal Championship, and that's that. Those are my predictions. So let's go over it again. Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, AJ Styles, Shayna Baszler, Bayley, The New Day, MVP, and Jeff Hardy. Those two last matches, I mean, MVP and R-Truth. Give me a break. Jeff Hardy and Cesaro, singles match, pre-show. So you guys want to get up early and watch the pre-show. That is your pre-show match of the evening. And that is what I got for you on the Money in the Bank preview and predictions. We got 1,600 people watching. Thank you guys so very much. I only see 675 likes, man. What's going on? We should be at 1,000 already. We should be at 1,000 thumbs up. Come on. Don't be cheap. Don't be a cretin. Don't be a goon. Don't be a geek. Hit that thumbs up, and let's get into the super chat or the super chats that have filtered in right now. Let's see. Bradley Sports, thank you for the £3. Gregory Benson, $9.99. Funny that Blue Chew is one of your sponsors because blue is exactly how I feel every Friday night after watching SmackDown, and I know for a fact that I'm not alone there. Absolutely. Because I feel like blue. You might need Blue Chew after the fact because your wife won't be happy that you're so discouraged coming out of SmackDown, man. BlueChew.com and use code JD for your free samples. Aaron, this pay-per-view will only be good if Nia Jax gets thrown off the building. Be honest, you want that to happen. I don't give a shit who gets thrown off. Nia Jax shouldn't even be on the pay-per-view, period. $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much, man. Gregory Benson, $4.99 super chat. Charlotte, and I quote, Io Shirai, can you teach me how to do your moonsault and then make it stored up in my memory chip for the Rosetta Stone Update 7.5? Yes, Charlotte cannot do a moonsault. Her moonsaults are fucking horrendous. One of the worst moonsaults in the business is Charlotte Flair. So that's you guys know my take on that. Steve Wynyard, £5. Thank you so much, man. Some predictions: Drew beats Seth, Braun beats Mr. Rogers, Bray, The Fiend beats him later, Bayley retains, AJ wins, Nia Jax wins Money in the Bank. You were off there on the last one, bro. Shane is going to win Money in the Bank. Joker in the Bronx, $2 super chat. Nia Jax ate my mom's Mother's Day cake. I am not surprised by that whatsoever, bro. Andrew, $4.99 super chat. What do you think is more likely? Sasha taking someone out and stealing their spot in the Money in the Bank, or Nia Jax winning? What do I think is more likely? Nia Jax winning. Sasha will not be in the Money in the Bank ladder match. No need. You don't need Sasha winning Money in the Bank to get to Bayley and Sasha at SummerSlam. We got Kig, New York, 98, $5 super chat. Look at him. Nia Jax sucks. Absolutely. Thank you for the $5, bro. Dustin Dick, Apollo, came out of catering, and the meatloaf is going to be amazing tonight. Much love, JD. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Appreciate that, buddy. JP5150, $10 super chat. JD, I agree. Nia Jax is absolutely god-awful. If she plans to make a huge splash at the headquarters tonight, then someone needs to get the life jackets for the women involved, or for the women involved. If Nia Jax gets thrown off the rooftop in the ladder match, it's going to create a asteroid-like crater in Stamford, Connecticut. DD Gaming, $1 super chat. I appreciate that, man. Carl with a $4.99 super chat. Do you think we really have the nerve to set Drew up versus Jinder after this feud with Seth? I hope not. Keep up the great work, bro. Of course. Jinder won no matches and is already in line for WWE Championship. It's coming, bro. It is coming. Do not be surprised when you see it. We got Team Forward, $2 super chat. What match might suck the least tonight? I would say suck the least? I'm going to say Seth versus Drew McIntyre. I think that should be a good match. I just don't give a shit about it. The Great Charlie, $2 super chat. JD, what are your thoughts on Tekashi 6ix9ine? Who gives a shit? Thank you for the $2 super chat. Jacob Donnelly, $5 super chat. How, or does anyone even remember how Braun Strowman left the Wyatt family? Yeah, he got drafted to SmackDown. He got drafted to SmackDown in 2016. That's how they split him up from the Wyatt family. Didn't make a big deal about it, but they want to make a big deal about him being in the Wyatt family. That's the point I don't get. Thank you for the $5 super chat, man. Victoria Floyd with a $2 super chat. What will happen with Otis and Tucker? What you're seeing now. Heavy Machinery is dead. Tucker, he might play a factor in the Money in the Bank match. I don't know. I can't see that happening. But I think Heavy Machinery is best when they're together. I don't think they should have been broken up whatsoever. This has Enzo and Cass written all over it. It really does. Joker in the Bronx, Tamina and Nia in a tag team. Hungry Hippos. Absolutely. Thank you for the $2, man. Hope you're safe. Antonio, $2 super chat. Do you think Jinder will get Money in the Bank? No. He's not in, and thank Christ he's not in. Because if he was, he'd absolutely be the odds-on favorite. Piccolo, $4.99. I don't know if I will be watching Money in the Bank tonight, but I think Guy Fieri has a new Triple D on. Honey, where's the remote? Triple D is great. Guy Fieri is absolutely Mr. Food Network. If there's one guy that's holding up that fucking network completely, it's Guy Fieri. Jordan Turner with a $99 super chat, a $100 super chat, $99.99. Unbelievable, Jordan. Thank you so much, man. My first super chat ever. Why not debut with a bang? Keep up the grind, brother. You and me have similar opinions on the product. Where do you think Tessa Blanchard goes as a free agent? AEW or WWE? I think she ends up in AEW. WWE is going to make a big run at her because they have Charlotte Flair waiting to feast. And clearly, the history between their families, I mean, it writes itself. And I've always stated that if there was another women's main event at WrestleMania, it's absolutely Charlotte and Tessa Blanchard. Does Tessa Blanchard look good? And does she come out topping Charlotte Flair? Absolutely not. Tessa would only be there to enhance Charlotte's resume, but that's what I think is the main reason behind WWE maybe going after Tessa so hard, but I do think she ends up in AEW. If I'm Tony Khan, I'm throwing any amount of money at her to come in and help the worst aspect of AEW television. Jordan, thank you so much for the $100. I really, really appreciate it. Julian with a $1.99 super chat. Why the hell is Tamina even in the match? Your guess is as good as mine, man. I have no idea. Magnificent Swag with a $20 super chat. Thank you, man. You know I ain't watching WWE, but I'm always here to support you, brother. Keep spitting the truth. I appreciate how you break it down for us consistently. Been here since 2016 with you. You already know how great you are. Man, thank you so much, brother. Really means the world to me with that $20. So thank you so much. And I'll see you guys later tonight with the pay-per-view review. Stu Sexton, $5 super chat. He says, glad to support you. I enjoy your podcast. Thanks for breaking everything down weekly for us the way that you do. My pleasure, man. I absolutely love doing what I do for you guys. And you have keeping me grounded during this entire stay at home. I owe you guys more than you owe me. Believe me. CC Steven, $10 super chat. Hi, JD. Keep up the good work. Speaking of ratings and moving the needle, who do you honestly think could help WWE with their ratings right now if they were champion, male, female, or tag team? CM Punk. That's it. And even him and his value is diminished by going to WWE backstage. There is nobody now that's going to be moving the needles, and CM Punk is the only left, obviously, but at this point, I don't even give a shit about him. He is diminished, like I said. But thank you for the $10 super chat. And like I said, man, watch part 2. I really don't state anything new in that about how to fix the ratings. It's what I've already said for the last 4 years, but it's going to take more than just doing. It's going to take a lot of time. You got to build up a lot of trust. It's got to happen over a really long period of time to get everybody back and, just feeling the way that they do about pro wrestling. It's not going to be an overnight thing. It's not going to be an overnight solution, but watch part 2 of this weekend's podcast. Everything you need is there. And thank you for the $10. Carl, we're in $1.99 super chat. Who will take the NXT title off of Charlotte? Rhea Ripley. It's coming, and that was obviously teased on NXT this past Wednesday. Philip, $4.99. I'll be interested to see how good the Money in the Bank matches will be. If they are good at all, LOL. Hard to say because these shows suck. I agree with you there, Philip, but I'm looking forward to seeing what WWE does with the cinematics of the Money in the Bank. They got everybody's attention, and that's all they want. Antonio, $2 super chat. The moment of piss wants a match with the Iconics, and I want a run at the bathroom. Give me a break. Bad Boy Gaming, $4.99. Been watching you for a while. It's only right. First super chat ever, by the way. Support JD from NY. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. And thank you for being with me here and having your first super chat on the Money in the Bank predictions. Chris A., $5 super chat. Been a fan of yours since the Mario Kart Monday days. Much love, JD. Lexa! We're not going to see Lexa tonight. Thank Christ. Thank you for the $5 super chat, man. $5 super chat. Who is your favorite horsewoman? And who do you think is the general WWE fan base's favorite horsewoman? I honestly don't think it's Charlotte. My favorite horsewoman is Sasha. And I think the overall favorite is still Sasha Banks. BitCloud Gaming, $5 super chat. What up, JD? Keep up the awesome work, bro, and stay safe. Thank you, my friend. Hope all is safe with you. Jamie Stewart, £1.99. Hey, JD, do you think Randy Orton's feud, or who do you think Randy Orton's feud is? I don't know. And at this point, I really don't care because the Orton match with Edge at WrestleMania left such a bad taste in my mouth. Mr. De Jesus, with a $2 super chat, called Johnny Boy an F-word goon, bro. It's his birthday. Thanks. Johnny Boy, you fucking goon. Happy birthday. Enjoy Money in the Bank. And hopefully Nia Jax doesn't eat the birthday cake. Victoria Floyd, $2 super chat. I don't want Tessa anywhere near WWE. Neither do I. Brett L, $9.99 super chat. Thank you, brother. Just want to support you, he says. I appreciate it. Marcus Patterson, $4.99 super chat. Huge fan since 2015. If you could name one thing that would kill your love for WWE, what would it be? I think my love for WWE's already died, bro. All they need to do is give Jinder Mahal the WWE Championship again. And Victoria Floyd with another $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Hope we are not looking at a side-by-side screening during Money in the Bank. We'll see what happens. Apparently it's going to be just thrown in there and edited it in throughout the show, so we'll see what happens. But again, I'm intrigued to see what they do, and it should be a fun night regardless. Guys, I am getting out of here. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my Sunday afternoon before the pay-per-view. I will be live tonight, live. I'm gonna send out the notification. Salrex is gonna get me the thumbnail. We'll send the notification out. I will be here live for the pay-per-view review as soon as it goes off the air, so make sure you guys have it set. Join me. This is the only place you need for your breakdown, your complete breakdown and analysis of Money in the Bank. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Make sure you guys check out all the other videos that you might have missed on the channel. And please make sure you guys support the Patreon page, patreon.com/JDfromNY206. Guys, I'm getting out of here. I'll see you tonight on Twitter for Money in the Bank, and then I'll be live right here on YouTube for the official pay-per-view Money in the Bank podcast right here on Off the Script. I'll see you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoons. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, and hopefully it's a good show tonight for Money in the Bank. It's the most unique, and the risk is worth the reward. You guys know how I feel about that. The risk of watching is detriment to your health. The risk of not watching is absolutely worth the reward. I'll see you guys later.